Welcome to Teach Online TV. My name is Tyler Basu, and today I am joined by a very special guest. Her name is Luria Petrucci, and she is a pioneer in the podcasting and live streaming world. She helps business owners and entrepreneurs grow their business using live streaming and online video. And she's created a lot of videos over the years, over 3,500 videos, in fact, which have received over 1 billion views and counting. And she's worked with top brands like Samsung, Panasonic, AT&T, OnStar, and many others. So Luria, thank you so much for taking the time to do the call. I'm excited to learn from you and to jump into this topic.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Now, I know I gave away just a little bit of your background there, but if you could just take a minute or two to tell us how you got into this. How did you get into using video to help grow businesses, and specifically live video as well?
Yeah, so back in 2005, I was one of the first video podcasters, and I had good timing. It was right when Apple released their very first video iPod. I decided to release a show because people would need, to have something on there for content. And no, not many other people were doing that. So I was one of the first. And so I got traction really, really quickly. And very soon after that, in 2007, in fact, live streaming came along, and I started live streaming. So 2005 video, 2007 live streaming, and I've been doing it on a regular basis from once a week to 5 days a week ever since.
Very cool. And I'm trying to think, what I was doing back in 2007. I think I just set up my Facebook account then.
There you go.
So when it came to live streaming, what were you using to do live streaming then?
So I've been using multiple different platforms for live streaming since then. Back then, what was interesting was mobile live stream actually started in 2007. It was a service called Quick. It was QIK. And it was from a phone, but only one phone. It was a Nokia N65, I think. And so how many people had those, right? So it was very limited to who could access it. And I had to get, that specific phone to be able to do it, and not everybody's going to do that, but that was my thing. So, from a very early day, you could live stream from your mobile phone. However, the infrastructure, the accessibility, none of it was in the right place for making it go crazy like it has last year and this year. And so now we're at a place where it's actually accessible by everybody, which is a wonderful thing to see. I was also using TriCasters. Now I use live stream boxes, but these are dedicated machines, things that the same boxes that CNN or ABC will take on the road when they do, mobile election coverage or go outside of the country to do coverage on, wars or things like that. So these are professional streaming boxes that are meant to do that and that alone. So I've been doing that since 2007, 2006, 2007 as well.
Okay, very cool, very cool. And as you know, Thinkific's audience is primarily online course creators, and a lot of them are getting into using video to help spread their message, get some free content out there, build their audiences, and ultimately promote their courses. And I know there's a lot of platforms that we now have available to us where we can do that. We can stream live video. And I want to get into some of those, but before we do, can you just maybe tell us why live versus the pre-recorded? Because you've done both. You've created videos that were published later and that were evergreen in many ways, and you've created live videos, which is more for that live interaction with people who are watching the video as it's being recorded, I guess. So what are some of the advantages that a live video has over a pre-recorded video that you might put on YouTube or something like that?
So the thing they have to realize about live is that people don't want polished anymore. They know that we as the people, right? We have figured out we don't have to put up with polished, perfect. We want fake. anymore. And we have the ability to demand that from our brands and the people that we both deal with on a daily basis, and also the businesses we consume from. So that's the root of it, is that people want real. They want to connect with humans. We have this innate need as human beings to connect and to be with other human beings. And that's what live streaming does. It opens up, it drops the veil, and it opens up this personal connection between brands and consumers. And if you think about it like that, it's so powerful when you, as a brand, as a course creator, and as somebody who has something to offer people, can connect on that level with not only your current customers, but your potential customers, or people who may not even realize that they need something yet, right? Like, so it exposes you to a wider audience on one hand, because like Facebook, for instance, prioritizes live video above all other types of content that you post on Facebook. You get better reach from that. And then it also, opens up, it establishes your expertise from just from a knowledge perspective. So when you get on live video and you present a topic, or you start to talk about that thing that you are good at, there is no doubt in anyone's mind, and this is all kind of subconsciously happening to people when they watch your live streams, but there's no doubt in their minds that you know what you're talking about, because it is live. They know that you can't edit it, right? So that, again, is amazingly powerful on a subconscious level, where they're not even having to think about it, but immediately they know you are the expert. And so if you think about live video from a marketing strategy standpoint, you use live video to establish your expertise, to provide value to an audience that may not otherwise be aware of who you are, or is maybe on your email list, but isn't yet really involved with you and they haven't bought, then you can definitely make a big difference. You can get those people from here to there to become buyers, and you can expose yourself to a larger audience. So that's how you want to think about live video when it comes to making a difference for those courses that you sell.
That makes a lot of sense, and so there's I think a lot of us need to let go of the need to be super polished and super perfect, and realize that that's actually an advantage of live video, is people get to see you as in an authentic state, or in a real state,
Absolutely. Yeah. You have to be willing to say, all right, this is who I am, and I'm just going to be comfortable being myself. I'm not going to try and present this polished, perfect person, because nobody wants to follow perfect anyway. They do for about 5 minutes and then they're bored with it. Right. So if you want a long lasting relationship, if you want people who are going to buy your courses, and then, you know what, because you have to think long term, at some point you're going to launch another course, or you're going to make a change to your course, or you're going to go in a different direction slightly. So there's all kinds of things that you want to present right now that will create engagement, that will create loyalty, so that they're not one-time buyers, they're lifelong buyers.
Great advice. Now, when it comes to choosing a platform to stream a live video from, can you tell us which ones you're using the most today, and which would you recommend somebody get started with, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so can I back up here for a second and just tackle one question that I think is important before we get to the platform choice?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so thank you. But I just want to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page in terms of the strategy going into live streaming, and that is, what works is having consistency and having a commitment to your audience. So what I recommend is that you have a live weekly show. And that word sometimes scares people. They're like, oh, a show, that's maybe a bit much for me. But all that means is that you are live at the same time every single weekday. Every single week. Don't go every single weekday like I do. But you're live, every single week at the same time. People know when to come and join you. You do this, right? So this is a consistency that will make a huge difference in the results of you using live videos. So you have that one date and time, and people come and join you at that time, and you create a community around that show and around your live video. Then in addition to that weekly show, you can go live at random times, at random places. And during the weekly show, you're providing value. You're saying, all right, this is the topic that we're going to talk about today. And it's going to be something to do with your topic of, your course, right? So that it leads directly into, hey, and if you want more, you can buy my course that goes into more detail, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to choose those topics very strategically. And then on the random streams, when those are just relationship builders. Those are just moments to be more human and to kind of open up that curtain even more and create that deeper relationship with your audience. And you can go live for those random moments at the grocery store, at an art festival, if your cat does something funny, it doesn't matter. Those are moments that just are like kind of, let's hang out together, right? So does that make sense in terms of the strategy that we want to attack with live?
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing there is the consistency. So you suggest committing to a weekly show at a minimum, if you're able to do more than that.
No, I actually would talk you out of doing more than that.
Okay, keep it weekly.
Start at weekly or monthly. Like if you can't even commit to weekly, let's just do once a month. It's very difficult to move past once a week because it takes up some time, right? You got to think about what the topic is you're going to create. You got to set aside that time. And too often people get too excited about it and they'll overcommit and then they'll fail, because they'll give up on it later, too soon. And so I suggest you do once a week or once a month and then commit to that for 6 months and then evaluate where you are at that point.
Okay, that makes sense. And is it difficult to get this going? Do we need a whole video studio, lighting, all that stuff? Or at a minimum, what can we accomplish this with from a tool and an equipment point of view?
So there are 4 levels of live streaming in terms of how and where and what equipment. So the 4 levels are, first and foremost, is the selfie stream. This is level 1. So that's you kind of holding your phone up, preferably landscape if you can. Not from Android though, right now on Facebook Live, that won't work. But yeah, so your selfie stream where you're just holding it and that's it. That's level 1. Then level 2 is adding some gear to your phone. And we have a level 2 gear guide at livestreamingpros.com/gear, level 2, the number 2. And that is like adding a mic and, a light, some stabilizers, maybe even a tripod so that you can kind of have a more professional look and feel without spending thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. Then level 3 is going live from your desktop computer with a piece of software like Wirecast or OBS. And then level 4 is what we do, where we have a dedicated machine that's built to do this one thing and one thing only. That's definitely the most stable, the most professional looking. It's the top, it's the TV quality version. But most people are going to fit in level 2 or level 3. And depending on whether you want to bring in like video assets and things like that. So there are different things that, you want to think about with each level. And if you're curious where you fit in or what you need to do all of that, I do actually have a quiz that will walk you through okay, what are you wanting to accomplish? And okay, these are the things that you need to get for that level. And that's at livestreamingpros.com/quiz. But if it really doesn't take anything, tremendous, right? So like, yes, you can step it up, but first and foremost, all you need to do is just get started. You can start at level 1 with absolutely nothing, and you can just do it. You can get used to the process. You can, get over that fear of hitting that live button. So that is all you have to start with, and then you can step your level up.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you start with the selfies if you have to, or if that's what you're comfortable with, and then work your way up.
Yeah.
Right?
And in terms of platform, do you want me to answer that since I totally
I was just going to bring us back to that.
Okay.
Which platforms are you using? But also, how do you suggest somebody choose what to use? Should they use just one? Should they use more than one? How should they approach deciding what platforms to use?
Yeah, it's a great question, an important one. First and foremost, you don't want to think, you don't want to overcommit, just like in terms of how often you go live. You never want to overcommit to platforms. So we actually broadcast to 2 Periscope accounts, Facebook Live and YouTube. And probably Instagram stories live now soon as they're rolling that out. But, we do all of that because we have the setup and the multitasking ability to accomplish that. But what you want to do at first is focus on one platform and then grow from there. We always start basic and grow from there because there's a lot to think about when looking at different platforms. And for the most part, most people are going to find most success with Facebook Live. It's definitely like where your audience is probably already. Some people may be on Twitter, some people may be on Instagram, some people may be on YouTube, but wholeheartedly, I think we can all agree that most people are on Facebook. And so I would start there unless you have a very specific reason for starting elsewhere. And if your audience is heavily over on Twitter, for instance, Periscope may be a better platform for you, and you have a lot of engagement on Twitter, but no engagement on Facebook, then that's a reason to think about the opposite. But for the most part, I would start it on Facebook because it also provides a lot more capabilities at this point in time. And Periscope is definitely pushing towards where Facebook is, but they're not there yet. And they give you a lot more choice in terms of what you do with your video. They also put a lot more effort into the live video and making sure that you have reach and exposure to other people outside of your current network.
Okay. And is there any steps that you found to work really well to help increase the show up rates of a live video? So let's say you've committed to those, a weekly segment, for example. What are some of the things you're doing to spread the word and to get people to show up on that live video?
First, I want you to only focus on the value. Make sure that you're not worrying so much about the numbers. Even if you have one person show up, that one person could be a buyer. So it really is truly about who is on your broadcast versus how many people you have. And I'll be very specific with this, and so that you can put this into perspective. When we first started doing our show on Facebook Live, like we've been doing live for a long time, right? But when Facebook Live, we started doing a show specifically on that platform, and that was a new show-ish, right? Like a new show, quote unquote. And so we had we had 15 people maybe show up. And one of the two of those people who showed up on some of those early days was Orange County Choppers and the social media manager from there, and then a social media person from GoDaddy. And now we're working with them. So with 15 people on the broadcast, 2 of those people were important, people that led to business for us. So that I want you to hear that maybe, specifically those examples won't show up on yours, but there are always really important people And every single person is important because you can turn those into buyers. They may have influence. They may be able to recommend you to somebody that will make a difference in your business. So never, ever, ever, ever forget that. So then that out of the way, let's talk about how you do grow it, and make sure that people are there. You want to make sure that you're telling people that you are going to be live there. So when you go live for the first few times, you may literally have no one there, which is okay. And if you're prepared and you have value that you're presenting, then just go through the value like it was a regular video, and then don't worry about it. Don't worry about that nobody showed up those first few times. But then what you want to do is take that link and you want to share it on every other social media platform that you're on. If you're on Twitter or Snapchat or wherever else you are in the world, in the social media world, go ahead and share that link and make sure that people know that you're going to be there again live at 10 a.m. on Mondays. And then you also, if you have an email list, make sure you're telling them, build some buzz up towards it. Let people know what's coming. And you'll find that people will come from other platforms like email list or Twitter or whatever to get to your live stream. Not everybody. Some people are like, oh, I won't go off of Periscope, right? But that's few and far between. So share the knowledge. And so many people forget to use their email list. If you have any amount of, of people on your list, that will be an effective way of doing it because they've already shown engagement with you by signing up. So do that. And then secondly, make sure that you're involving yourself in other communities. This is just really marketing 101, but it works for live video as well, right? So get involved in other communities that are similar to your topic or that have a cohesive kind of relationship, something that you can help out. So if you find some Facebook groups, go provide value in those groups. Get to know other community members. Make yourself useful. Don't pitch. Don't go into those groups saying, hey, let's come over to me. Come over. I'm here. That's annoying. Nobody likes that. And it's not good social media etiquette. So, but get out there and provide value and just be you. And people will start to understand that, okay, you are valuable, and then they'll check you out, and then, people will start to come to your shows. So that is a long-term strategy, but it's one that's extremely effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing that because that advice is advice that has come up many times from our audience. Go out there and provide value to people. Don't be spammy in groups. Build your email list. These are some of the fundamentals of the audience online, I think. And you know what? We're so
now. And if you want any of this stuff online to work, if you want to be able to sell your courses long-term, not just here and now, one big sale and then be done, you have to implement a long-term strategy and you have to commit. And there's just no easy answer. So, it's either, and that's what separates the people who are going to be successful from the people who will put their course out there and never get enough sales to make it worthwhile. So that's really important to understand and remind yourself, put it on a Post-it note if you have to, write it in lipstick on the bathroom mirror or whatever. Just make sure that you're committing to these strategies that will work, but you have to give it time as well.
Right. Now, Luria, you've shared a ton of gold already, and I want to be respectful of your time, but I do have one last question I want to wrap up with here. For a course creator specifically, when they're out there doing live videos to share some of their content, presumably content that's related to their course, so that they do attract their target audience with those live videos. You talked about the importance of having the right people watch the videos versus just a large number of people per se. But what should the goal be for us when we're doing live videos? Is the goal, awareness? Is the goal engagement? Is the goal getting people to your website? How do you typically, approach measuring if your live videos are effective? I mean, do you have certain calls to actions or things that you tell people to do after they watch the video? What do you think our objective should be from that point of view?
So your number one objective is the value that you provide. Your number two objective is getting that engagement, because once you get people engaged, they will buy from you, no matter if you ask them to or not. Let me give you a quick example. One of my students, AJ, he is a fitness professional. He helps other fitness professionals with his training and stuff. And he had a bad day one day. He got on live because he had committed to himself and to me that he would actually do live video that day. And I would have totally been like, all right, you had a terrible day. Believe it for tomorrow. But he was committed. And so he got on live video. He didn't have it in him to prepare a topic and to like be, a presenter that day, which is totally understandable. But he said, his description was, I had a really bad day. What can I do to help you? So he just sat there and answered questions, and he provided value. And he let people just guide the conversation. And at the end of that, he had people literally asking him how to buy his training. And he didn't pitch it. He didn't have any intention of having a call to action in that show. Like, that was not what that was about for him. And yet at the end of it, because he has been building engagement, they took it upon themselves to ask how to buy. When you have engagement, and this is why it's the number two, goal, is you are going to have loyalty, and you're going to have people who will do whatever you ask, who will buy whatever you need them to, or that's beneficial to them, of course. But, that loyalty and that engagement is so strong that it won't matter, so much if your call to action isn't perfect. Number three, and these call to actions, a lot of people are scared about this part of the sale, right? Of like, oh, well, I have to actually sell you something now at the end. You don't have to sell. You just have to say, you know what? I've just given you 30 minutes of great content. I've offered you value. Hopefully that makes a difference in your life or your business or whatever value you're providing. And then you say, you know what, if you want to take the next step with me, I would love to help you further. I'd love to give you these trainings, the courses that go in depth. Here next week, and I'll be giving you more free content. And eventually the time will be right for them. So that's your order of the process that you want to think about in terms. So value, engagement, but make sure you have that call to action.
Great advice. Well, Luria, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come and share a bit of your journey with us, and so much great advice on this topic of live video. Really appreciate it. And for our audience, if they want to get in touch with you, livestreamingpros.com is the best place they can find you. Am I right?
Absolutely. Livestreamingpros.com. And then the quiz, if you want to learn kind of where you fall into, like what kind of live streamer you are and everything you need, all the basics of what you need to get started with your level, that's at livestreamingpros.com/quiz.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate it.